They're legs, 2 ears, 2 eyes, one nose, one tongue, and a tail. Apparently, they're like really thick. Um, yeah, it's a lot of corgis. Mm, they're white and brown. They're really furry, and I wish I had one. Damn. All right, I think that's my TED Talk. I'm done.
Okay. Okay. All right, so these days, nearly everyone owns some kind of smart device. We mostly use our phones and tablets for social networking and entertainment. Our addiction to our phones has altered our daily routines. When you wake up, the first thing you do is you check your phone. Before you go to bed, you check your phone. When you're nervous or anxious, you go on your phone. When you don't want to interact with anyone, you go on your phone. We use our phones as an escape. Now, why is that? Wait. Apps on our phone are designed to be addicting. I didn't click it. Apps on our phone are designed to be addicting. App developers spend lots of time thinking about what appeals to people and use psychological tricks to keep us engaged in our devices. They use the same logic for phone apps as slot machines. For example, your mind might not consciously know, but when you refresh your page on social media apps, you're pulling down, which is similar to pulling the lever on a slot machine, which creates an illusion of control and makes it addicting. App developers pay attention to every single detail, even if it's the color and the design or how the app works. Warmer colors grab our attention more, and app developers like to take advantage of that. Our notification icons are colored red to grab our attention. Over the years, apps have redesigned their logos to a brighter color to captivate the audience's eyes. For example, Instagram has changed it to a brighter color, and it works. It keeps us glued to our phones for hours. Our phones also emit blue lighting, which keeps you up at night because it affects your sleeping schedule and it tricks your brain into thinking that it is still daytime. This takes away time from your deep sleep and can cause issues later on in life. Using your phone at night makes it harder for you to fall asleep and makes you produce less melatonin. It is recommended to stay off your devices and sleep before you go to sleep and read instead. Studies have shown that having too much screen time can often lead to myopia, which is having nearsighted vision. Each decade, it keeps gradually getting worse and worse. Heavy smartphone use can often be another sign of hidden problems such as stress, fear, depression, or loneliness. And at the same time, it could also make the problems worse. Oh no. Oh, how do you go back? Okay. All right. Tips to overcome your cell phone addiction is to get rid of the colors in your phone and turn on the grayscale filter. With the grayscale filter, there's no colors to distract you, and honestly, you do get bored of your phone fast because it looks dull. Another tip is to get rid of infinite scrolling so that you have an endpoint. instead of endlessly scrolling for hours and losing track of time. You can also get rid of useless notifications or non-human notifications and have only important ones on. So now let's see if your screen time hours can go down. You are in charge of your own productivity. Put your phone down for a few hours or use it less often. Take a smartphone vacation and enjoy the community around you.
All right. I was born in a country that was. Can you hear me? I was born in a country that was created to return free black slaves. I was born in Africa, Liberia, which is on the west coast of Africa. On the surface, we are blessed with infinite beauty and nation rich with natural resources. We are blessed with gold, iron ore, and natural rubber. I came to America July 26, 2017, leaving everybody I ever knew. My brothers, mom, dad. I arrived in JFK, New York. I was really happy coming to America, California. I always wanted to see the snow and take picture in it. Uh, and send it back to my friends in Liberia so they can see I'm in America. That was my dream. So I didn't know there was no snow in California. So when I came here, I was very frustrated. And shit, I'm gonna still go see it though. But yeah. So let's see what's three. But after being in California for a while, I realized that people here is really good and they will try to do anything to help you out. I got to play the sport I love with my friends, family, and experience some of the best yet of my high school life. 3 years ago, one of the 3 years ago, one of the world's most deadly disease, Ebola, entered Liberia and killed thousands of people. So coming here to America, I got to see a place free from sickness, diseases, kind-hearted people freely, and that changed my life. It's not about what you think about a place, but what you got. What when you get there, what you do about it. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm so scared. I'm trying to like comport myself right now. Hello everybody. My name is Gift Olatunji, and my TED Talk today will be about how being a Nigerian has shaped me. Um, yeah. Oh, right. Okay, thank you. I've recently moved here from Nigeria. It's an African country. And because I moved, I had to change schools, obviously. And I remember my first day, and I'm from Lagos, so this is a picture of Lagos, just to give you like a heads up. And when I changed schools from Nigeria here to California, I remember the second class I had was PE, and I remember meeting two girls and a boy of about my age, I hope. They walked up to me and they asked me, what's my name? And I told them my name is Gift. I introduced myself, and the girls introduced themselves. So being black, they assumed I was not from around here. And they asked me where I was from, and I went on to tell them I was from Nigeria, specifically in Africa, and I grew up in a city called Lagos. And then at this point, I noticed one of the girls looked so amused, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she told me that she was wondering how I spoke English so properly. So it was a weird thing for me to speak English properly to her. She was amused that I spoke English and I was from Africa. And at this point, I was so upset because I really have a temper sometimes. And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, you wouldn't understand." I'm like, "Really? I wouldn't?" And I knew I was upset, but a part of me wasn't upset because I understood that the people that surrounded her, from the movies she watched or the people that she hung out with, or sometimes even like the things that she saw around her from the internet or from her mobile phone, everything that was around her portrayed the fact that Africans are supposed to be not learned, or Africans are supposed to be starving, or Africans are supposed to be dying in hunger, or Africans are supposed to be wearing clothes with palm leaves, which is not true. And so I just told her that, you know what, in the part of Africa that I come from, it's not like that. Those things don't happen anymore. They're outdated. And so she was like, "Oh, really? I really like the way you speak. You know what? I want to be friends." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And this opened my eyes to how people see Africa. It's they say it in a single message. When people think of Africa, they think about starving children. They think about Ebola. They think about things that, most of the time, bad things. They hardly think about good things. And I cannot blame them because I know Africa was colonized by European countries. And so for a very, very long time, we were taught how to think, how to breathe, how to eat, how to serve our masters. And that was what happened in the 80s and 90s, but that's not what happens anymore. Africa is, especially Nigeria, Nigeria seems to be so advanced now. Sometimes I think I don't see the difference between Nigeria and some American states. That's how advanced we've gotten. And after that incident, I realized that sometimes we have cultures that are really silly. I mean, really. But there's some experiences Nigerians have that no other places on this planet ever have. From the weddings to some ceremonial events to festivals, they're completely different. The way we greet our elders. So this is actually a picture of a wedding ceremony. So from this tribe, the woman is expected to give a drink to her husband. These are the type of cultures that make me a proud Nigerian. This is a picture of a Yoruba wedding, the tribe where I come from, where no matter where you're from, no matter who you are, you're supposed to lie down flat. It's a way, I don't know why, but it's a way of showing, I guess, portraying like the heritage or portraying how much respect you have for your in-laws, basically. And during the ceremonies, there's this system we have. I call it a system because it's everywhere. We spray money into the air. It's a thing we do because we want to portray how much we love the person. So if you ever need money, just go to a Nigerian wedding. It's fine. Just go there and pick it up. There's always money on the floor. And even some parts of Nigeria, the way we greet our elders, it's basically like this. The women are expected to go on their knees. The men are expected to lie flat. Because we want to portray that attitude of we respect our elders. The attitude of, you know what, we're different and we know that and we are okay with that. And this experiences that I've learned all my life has shaped me to what I am today. I am different, I know, but I like the way I am. I'm a Nigerian, I'm a proud Nigerian with this cultural heritage. Thank you.
Wait, is it this one? How many of you have been stressed? Sorry, I should use the mic. How many of you have been stressed? Thought so. Like you, I've dealt with stress, both good and bad. Yes, good and bad. But I do think there is such thing as too much stress. If you put too much pressure on a cut, it could hurt you. But if you put just the right amount, you can stop the bleeding. To be completely honest, I have no professional background with stress. nor did I do any like substantial research. This is all personal experience, by the way. So I'm sorry if this doesn't apply or if it sounds goofy or wacky or stuff like that. Stress can come from anywhere. Could be family, friends, school, daily life. Like I said earlier, I don't think it's all bad. Stress exists, I think, to keep us living, for survival purposes. It tells us when we need to worry about something, when we need to prioritize something. It keeps us from dying. It keeps us on our feet. But it can be overbearing sometimes. Some examples of when it's not, because it's not always bad, are the things that we experience every day. Maybe it's finishing a test so you can go back to hanging out, or maybe it's watching your favorite sports team go head to head with a different sports team, and it's neck and neck, and the anticipation of who's going to win, or if you're playing video games, if you're only a few points off, or it's just you're the only one left alive on your team to do the thing. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to look at my script as much as I can. But things like that, things that happen that aren't not very much on the line. These sorts of things I would like to call are these things that keep you on the edge of your seats. I like to refer to as battlefield moments. I forgot to do an entire slide. I'm so sorry, everyone. Work, school, family. I planned this. Sports, video games, action movies, which I didn't mention, but those also keep you on the edge of your seats. Like I said earlier, I like to call these low important stress moments battlefield moments, because like the Battlefield series, battlefield moments are known as moments. I should just read my script. I'm so sorry, everyone. Because in the game Battlefield, it's known for these high stress, low or high reward situations, be it jumping off of a plane and then shooting through a building to make a hole to take out some enemies, or running past a tank and barely missing it, or stuff like that. But these things are exciting and fun, and they're stressful, but they're not bad. Where on the other hand, let me swap. There are bad stress moments where you feel overwhelmed, and some of these overwhelming moments aren't necessarily high risk. It could be something like coming up here and giving a TED Talk. Like, in the end of the day, I'm not going to be too affected by this. Or it could be something heavy like childhood trauma, or it can sprout from anywhere. Stress is a human thing that connects all of us. All of us have experienced some form of bad stress. Sorry, this is a more personal thing. That one example of one of my biggest stressors is when I was little, I was abused by my dad. Even though he has changed over time, and even though we've all grown, his voice still stresses me out. It takes me from a 0 to a 9, and nothing's gonna happen. That's not him anymore. That's not the life I live in. But that stuff still sticks with me. And it could be something like that, which may not seem like very much to other people, but but it affects you a lot. So what I'm basically trying to say is no matter how little someone else's stress may seem, even if there are no risks being taken, don't underestimate the amount of suffering they're going through or something. I'm sorry, this is becoming a weird rant. Yeah, thank you for listening. That was really bad. Thank you, everyone. I wish I had like a cool joke to end on. Tell a knock knock joke. Knock knock. Open the door, please. There is no joke. That's the joke. That wasn't funny. I am so nervous. What the heck? Oh, I forgot to finish my TED Talk. Do a backflip? I can do a somersault. No. That's so bad.
Yeah. My name is Mohammed, and my TED Talk script is on stress. Why do we stress? The situations and pressures that cause stress are known as stressors. We usually think of stressors as being negative, such as an exhausting work schedule or a rocky relationship. However, anything that puts high demands on you can be stressful. Of course, not all stress is caused by external factors. How do we avoid stress? Some ways that will help keep your stress at bay is one, keep a positive attitude. 2, accept that there are events that you cannot control. 3, be assertive instead of aggressive. 4, learn and try relaxation techniques such as meditation, yoga, or Tai Chi for stress management. 5, exercise regularly. 6, eat healthy, well-balanced meals. Stress can be a main component on your physical health and mental health. With stress, you can suffer from several different types of illnesses, from headaches, anxiety, depression, etc. There are a number of options you can handle your stress that people through our society are open about. In this generation, the majority of Americans deal and suffer from stress on the daily. So don't be too rough on yourself all the time. Thank you.
Okay, well, I had slides, but I forget what account they're on, so I'm not going to search them all. But my TED Talk today is basically going to be on the most boring topic you're ever going to hear, which is medical insurance. So, medical insurance is something that you're all going to have to get at some point in your life or another. For most of you that are still, well, you guys are all still children technically. Until you're the age of 24, you'll be under your parents' insurance, so you won't have to worry about how much it's going to cost. But as soon as you hit the age of 25, you're going to have to pay for it, and it gets really expensive really fast. If you go to the ER, the average cost of a visit is going to be somewhere between $24,000 and $30,000, which is basically a car. So the main thing that you can do is, if you are in a low income situation, get the free health insurance, not Medicare, but if you stay in California, Medi-Cal. If you're outside of California, it's Medicaid. It's basically a plan that you pay very little into and you get free healthcare benefits, but the problem is you get very, very bad, crappy care because of the fact that it's free. Another thing that you can do is, if you try to get a really good job by going to college, go to college. If you go to college and get a really good job, you'll get really good health care, and then you'll be able to have a plan that you have to pay more for, but you'll be paid more because of your job. So you can afford to pay for higher health care, which means that you get better benefits. We live in California, and we're lucky enough to have Kaiser. Kaiser is a really great healthcare organization because everything is all included in one. By using Kaiser, you can go to any specialist, or you can get any sort of service that you need basically within a 25-mile radius of where you live. Another good one is Sutter, but not that many people know about Sutter. It's more of just an ER, and they have a lot of specialist areas where they do research in cancer and disease. But the primary thing is just to try to get a good job so you can get good health care, and just make sure that you are able to pay and not get into debt because you don't have health insurance, or get into debt and then be stuck paying stuff off. Thank you.
All right. 1.8 billion people travel internationally every year to see the world, and like all over. People come to California just to see Yosemite. Next year, I will be moving to Holland for 10 months on exchange, so someone from there will be here. And of the 1.8 billion people that travel every year, 2.5 million go just to study in a new place and to see this world and change their whole life views. It sounds scary, but like, do it. Travel, change your views, do something you've never done before, do it once a week. Not traveling, do something you've never done before once a week. Last weekend, I went to Yosemite National Park with a bunch of Rotary Exchange students who are here. As you can see, there's a girl from Argentina, there's a couple of people from Italy, a girl from France, there's a boy from South Korea. And we hiked, and it was really fun. And so these are those are some of the girls that I'm traveling with. Nobody else is going to the Netherlands. Someone going to Spain. There's a guy going to Italy, a lot of stuff. And we're all doing it because we want to do something new. We want to experience something that we've never done before, and something that is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Go out, find a college program, do something, save money for months, do something, travel. See something new, spend not just a few days, spend like 2 weeks somewhere if you can. Do the best you can. But do it, find something new. I'm repeating myself, I'm gonna stop now. Bye. Oh, there's more pictures, I guess. All right, cool.
supposed to look like that? Okay. Okay. So I rewrote most of my script yesterday because it looked like shit and I didn't like it. So as you can see, it's called Losing and Finding a Home Again. Those are that's me as a baby because I thought I was cute and I wanted you to see. Thank you. Oh, fuck you. Sorry, I mean frick you. Sorry. I'll keep it PG, my bad. So, my mom had me when she was like 17, 18 years old on October 28th, 2001. She did her best to provide for me and take care of me, but as most people realize after having a kid, it's not easy, it's a lot of work. I wasn't the easiest kid to raise, and what she struggled with the most was loving me. Ironically, I was and still am a very emotionally attached person, and because of this, our relationship was really surface level. We would constantly fight, and after almost every fight, she'd apologize and say, "I just can't love you the way that you want to be loved." She didn't know how to give me something she didn't have as a kid. My mom had a harder childhood than most, so I understand why it was so hard for her to love me. As a kid growing up, I needed way more affection than I was given, and someone recently phrased it like this. Okay, close your eyes and imagine a cactus. Cactuses are prickly and need to be watered maybe once a week. And now imagine a sunflower that needs to be in the sun and watered 7 times a week. I was a sunflower, and my mom treated me like a cactus. A lot has happened that led up to this moment I'm about to talk about. Out of respect for her, I won't bring up too much of it or go into detail, but I will say throughout my childhood, I was given constantly the impression that my voice was non-existent and unimportant. And because of my age, it was unexistent because of my age, yeah. And I was also given the impression that violence was always going to be a first option when things went wrong. The first time I got kicked out of my house, I had come home. It was late. I had a performance at school for the choir group that I'm in. I remember us getting into an argument, and I was just really overwhelmed and tired of being criticized for just being myself. And I remember everything flooding out in the moment and yelling that I hated her and I hated being in the house. The next thing I remember is that I was sitting outside the church down the street from the house that used to be my home. My butt was wet since it was raining, and I tried really hard not to cry. I tried not to let it get to me that in the span of 30 minutes, I had lost the place I thought was a home, or rather just a place to sleep. I called 3 people that night. I kind of held myself together during the first 2 calls. I don't know why, but the last person I called really got to me. Because, when you're trying to explain what happened and what situation you're in, and you're talking to that last person and they ask what's wrong, and you just can't really hold back the tears anymore. You kind of just can't. Yeah, so she answers, my friend, and all I recall from that call to her is 2 things. I told her that I was cold, and she asked me where I was. To that friend who came and picked me up, thank you, and I'm really sorry I never gave back your sweatpants. But I will somehow figure out how to repay you for how you helped me and held me when my tears spilled out. This was the first time I had felt I lost a home, but not the last. When I finally moved out all my stuff from what was once my room, I felt sad and lost the first few weeks. It was hard being in a position where I couldn't provide for myself. And I hated asking for help or feeling like a burden. It was to the point where I'd rather sleep outside on a bench rather than ask a friend to stay the night. There was this day where I didn't know where to go and I was too embarrassed to call anyone. And I'm sitting there in this building and I'm like kind of talking to myself and I'm like, all right, we need somewhere to be, somewhere to stay. So this is the plan. We're gonna throw our bag in like an air vent and then we're gonna hide in the bathroom, sit on the toilet and hope that no one comes in to check so that we can stay here overnight. It seemed like a goodish plan at the time. I was going off what I saw in movies, so, you know. But thankfully, I got a text from my aunt asking what had happened. And from there, I told her, and she let me come and stay with her. It was a lot better than the bathroom plan, obviously. I found a place to stay, but it didn't feel like a home. I was drowning in self-pity, and I hated it. With school and college, I felt overwhelmed. God, sorry. I felt overwhelmed, really overwhelmed. And it was getting to the point where it was affecting my friendships and relationship. They stayed with me, though, through all of it. And I'm not really sure where I'd be without them now, which brings me back to home. So you remember when I said, like, maybe 2 minutes ago, that my aunts didn't feel like a home, or if I didn't say it, my aunts didn't feel like a home to me at all. Like, it still doesn't feel like a home at all. The reason for that, though, is a little different than it was before. Home, a place where one lives permanently, especially as a family member in a household. That's what you'll see when you look up the definition of home. But for those that have constantly moved around through their lives, or for people like me who have lost what they once considered a home, I've come to realize that a home is more than a house. It's the people that you find comfort and safety in. When you think of a home or your ideal place to be, you feel those things, right? Safety, comfort, love, somewhere where you don't have to hide. So in theory then, can't your home be more than just a house? I've learned recently that I may have lost the place I lived, but I didn't lose a home. I didn't lose my safe place, and I realized I was surrounded by people that wanted to help me and made me feel less alone at a time when I felt I had literally nothing. They gave me a sense of love and acceptance for just me being who I am, and I really wanted that from my mom, but I didn't get it. So, yeah. Thank you to them for being my home, making me feel a lot less like, a lot less like someone that you have to help and more like you want to. Because it's really hard for me to accept pretty much anything from anyone, except for maybe Brianna, because she offers coffee every once in a while. And thank you for listening. I did not snap.
Hey, Alvin, bro. Michael Jackson with the mic. I'm about to be like. Hey, hey. No, just home team hoops. What is it? Take to be successful. Takes encouragement. All right, all right. I cannot see up here in here. Chill. Wait, I can go now? Okay. My name is Lawrence Long, and my presentation is about encouragement in sports. So, what does it take to be successful? Encouragement. And all athletes need some type of motivation and encouragements to stay on track and be focused and stay focused to follow their dreams and goals. Many people fail. It's a part of life. But once you get up and feel that success is coming your way from all the countless hours you put in trying to perfect your craft feels great. Without being encouraged, I don't think you can succeed. If people are just putting you down and being negative all the time, there's no room for success. I believe that preparation plus opportunity equals an explosion of success. So basically, I've been my whole life
I played basketball. People had say like I would be I wouldn't be anything, and I just been doubted my whole life. So basically, motivate. Haters are my motivators, basically. So I just been keeping that, and I just been working ever since. And my first time when I touched the basketball, uh, I just I just been grinding ever since. And so basically, my statement in this presentation: if people hate on you and they don't believe in you, just keep working even harder, just to be like your best, basically.